farming, combat, fishing, mining, taming, foraging, enchanting, and alchemy. Those are the 8 pillars of Skyblock skills. Each requires specific mastery in a specific Skyblock activity. Farming requires a massive pumpkin farm. Combat requires vast amounts of money to dump down the sinkhole of Revenant Slayer. Fishing requires patience and large amounts of time. Mining requires the same thing as fishing except you need snow minions. Foraging requires you to have large amounts of charisma and skill in dealing with other people. Enchanting and alchemy require money. So when people level up all these skills to level 50, it is a big deal. It would take approximately 1,200 hours and nearly 200 million coins to max all your skills. Nobody has had the time, resources, or patience to accomplish such a feat since Skyblock's release. Until now. It all began on Skyblock's release. Nobody really cared about skills. Everyone was focusing on mining in the deep caverns and not getting slaughtered by overpowered cavern mobs. After the end update, people began chasing after the superior armor set. After the Slayer update, people began to grind for Slayer items. There were many things to focus on in Skyblock, but some people had their eyes on skills. The first person to obtain a level 50 skill would be Hypixel, who genocided tens of millions of sugarcane plants and brewed them into speed potions to obtain Alchemy 50, the easiest skill to max in Skyblock. It was a monumental feat back in the elder days, but now thousands have acquired this. On their way to Alchemy 50, they would nearly reach Farming 50, although they would become inactive shortly before they would accomplish this. The Slayer update also arrived, sidetracking players. Slayers were the new craze. Until players got bored. Players realized that the obtaining of combat skills was necessary to best the new mobs presented by the Slayer update. The viability of grinding skills was renewed by the arrival of skill boost potions, which is the only redeeming factor of the otherwise terrible Jerry event. Ghast minions were rediscovered after players realized that ghasts gave exceptional combat experience. It would be months until ghasts were patched. A player known as Squeezelord, now known as Cheesy Matt, would be the first to obtain Combat 50 on November. After countless hours of combat experience boosts violated, hundreds of thousands of ghasts destroyed, and stacks of hamster wheels burned, which were the best fuel at the time. The amount of air pollution caused by these minions would explain why so many fairy souls perished in Hypixel Skyblock. Very shortly after, a man known as Owo Panda would achieve Combat 50 as well, after a deadly encounter with a Lapis zombie in the deep caverns. Who knows what might have happened there, but he got Combat 50. You may have seen a pattern here. These guys only have one maxed skill, which is about 12.5% of the way to 8 maxed skills if I am right. It would require a few more months of evolution before someone would have 2 maxed level skills simultaneously. In the meantime, Owo Panda would amass a giant collection of grand experience bottles, to max out his enchanting skill. In the meantime, a ferocious foe would rise up to the ranks of Owo Panda, who had the highest skill average during the time. The challenger would be known as Seaman Kapsa, who was already Combat 50 and Alchemy 50. A massive breakthrough would occur in January, with Owo Panda becoming the first person to obtain 3 level 50 skills, after the acquisition of Alchemy 50 through the destruction of tens of millions of sugarcane. He would step down shortly after this achievement, allowing Seaman Kapsa to burglarize the #1 skill spot. He would be the first to obtain 40 skill average by the end of January, thus securing his spot in first place with his gigantic lead in farming and enchanting. He would be the first to have 4 maxed skills simultaneously in all of Skyblock. Foraging, mining, and fishing were all seen as impossible because people did not have the resources to accomplish the feat of maxing those skills, but technological innovations such as pets and the tree capitator would arrive in upcoming updates, allowing people to challenge those skills. Pixel Club would be the first to get Foraging 50 legitimately by the end of March, after long hours of destroying the ecosystem for his monetary gain. At around the same time, a man known as Linman would be the first to obtain Fishing 50, after over 1,000 hours of staring at water. Mining 50 would not be achieved for a while because of the fact that mining sucks ass. Nobody likes to do mining. Except for a guy called HUcast, but he would delete his profile at mining level 47 after he was exposed for macroing. Other people would take different approaches. Instead of maxing out a single skill, it was possible to level up all of your skills equally. This was a strategy used by a player called Crude Reality, who was the first to reach 30, 35, and 40 levels on all skills simultaneously. Another strategy was to go hard on macros, using programming to control your character and grind skills while you do more useful things with your life. This strategy was used by Jimiro, although unfortunately, Hypixel would smite him with a profile wipe and 90-day ban just as he was about to reach 50 skill average. At the time, Crude Reality and Seaman Capsa were about the same distance from 50 skill average. Although their skill averages were about a galaxy apart, Crude Reality and Seaman Capsa had spent about the same amount of time on skills. Things were about to drastically change, however. Judgment Day would happen on Hypixel. Those who exploited farming and enchanting to level 50, such as Z-Banana, Blang, and Hated would be struck from the sky. Those who were blatant macroers, such as Jimiro, would be banished to the underworld. Many players fell out of the skill average leaderboard. Then, Crude Reality would take a break from Skyblock, to focus on RuneScape. Things were looking up for Simon, who seemed certain to be the first to reach 50 skill average. Seaman Capsa would hit mining 50 and be the first person to have 6 level 50 skills, the highest at the time, but he would quit after because fuck fishing to be honest. Another blockade would also prevent Simon from reaching 50 skill average. There was also a new skill added to the mix, called Taming, which was basically leveling up pets. There was no way Simon could get Taming 50 unless he gained 160 million pet experience. Unless he had a few billion coins to spare to level up alchemy for Taming 50. His dreams of 50 skill average were ruined. The destruction of the bad guys and the leaving of the OG players would make way for the next generation of skill grinders. People you know today, such as X-Has-Cox, Eaglepi Every Name, Squidush, and Pablo would rise to the top 10. However, there were two people who were exceptionally ahead. Linman, the first person to get Fishing 50, would stand strong through this period of turmoil and confusion. He had his eyes set on obtaining 50 skill average, since he had already defeated one of the hardest skills to level up. He had obtained all level 50 skills except Taming and Mining by June. Another man known as thouqhtz would rise to the occasion, having obtained Mining 50 and all the other skills, except Fishing and Taming. The battle between Linman and thouqhtz for 50 skill average would be the most epic battle in recent history, except for the potato war between Technoblade and Squid Kid, with both sides taking massive losses. They had to make massive sacrifices and keep their brain from melting into scrambled eggs. All Linman had to do was max mining, while thouqhtz only had to do fishing. Fishing was slightly faster to level than mining when you are actively fishing, while mining is slower to level up manually, though you can use snow minions to get 500,000 XP every day. It was all a matter of time and motivation. The final war would begin around the start of June. Both individuals were about 0.1 average apart. People placed their bets. Some said that thouqhtz would win since fishing was faster to level up. Others thought the outcome was not looking good for thouqhtz. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, their progress would be closely monitored by those who wanted to see the outcome of this battle. All they had to do was wait.
20 presents. I gave him 2 presents. Yeah. Oh! GG! GG! GG!
After countless sacrifices, overfishing, and environmental destruction, there was a victor. It was over. The biggest flex in all of Skyblock was obtained. There are those who have the legendary Ender Dragon, there are those who obtain hundreds of millions of alchemy experience, and there are those who have died over 40 times to the Carrot King. You may be thinking that this may be the most worthless flex, and you might be about 10% correct. The stats provided by all the skills leveled add up. If you have all level 50 skills, you will do 3.6 times the damage dealt by a guy with foraging and combat level 1, have 384 more health, 86 more defense, 172 more intelligence, and have 50 more pet luck. That is perhaps some of the most overpowered buffs in the game. Compare this to having a level 9 Slayer, 46 horsepower, 17 crit damage, and a whopping 3 speed. Absolutely trash. Anyways, this concludes the journey for 50 skill average. Before I end this video, I would like to give a shout out to Lampidus and channel G.I. Joe Show. These people are absolute goats and you should go check out their channel. I would also like to give a shout out to Linman and thouqhtz for going above and beyond on this game, and they deserve more attention than certain people in this game. Anyways, goodbye.